Welcome back to OT Sports. Today we got our Week 2 Power 40 college basketball rankings. I'm very excited for this video. Unfortunately, I was pretty rushed to make this. I had a very busy day today, so I didn't have much time to record. So I'm recording this pretty late. I didn't have much time to make the rankings, so I did try and think about them as much as I could. There's going to be no like up or down arrows. You see those with college football. I have like what based on where they were last week, how many spots they move up. I didn't have enough time to make those this week. I'm sorry. We'll start those up next week. Yeah, I also have to record this one a little bit faster, so uh, just unfortunately that's just what we got to do today. But I'm still gonna try and make this as entertaining as possible. So let's just jump right into the top 40. So we're starting off with our bottom 15 teams in the top 40. Number 40, I got Clemson still. They're staying the same from last week. They picked up a couple of wins, close wins. They were in some sort of tournament. I kind of forget which one exactly they were in, but they beat teams like UAB and I'm forgetting the other one. But they played some alright teams in their tournament they were in. They're 3-0. I think I'm gonna keep them here. They could have definitely dropped, but I did decide to keep them in the top 40. Number 39, St. Mary's losing to Weber State in a weird one. I didn't even get to watch that game. I was um, very busy Sunday too, and I mean, yeah, just really unfortunate for them. They got a huge win against New Mexico. I was getting ready to move them up, and then they drop one to Weber State. They got a game coming up against San Diego State, so they got to prepare for that one. Those are two pretty good teams, but both losing games. We'll get to the San Diego State in a little. Um, Kansas State, I had falling a little. They lost to USC, but I'm very impressed with the USC team, so I didn't fault them too much. They also picked up a couple of nice wins. They did keep it a little bit closer than I liked against Bellarmine, but they got a big game against Providence coming up. I'm interested to see how they play in that one. Michigan, I have at 36. They've been doing pretty good so far throughout the first couple 2 games. They haven't played anyone really, but the offense has looked great, putting up 99 and 92. Again, it hasn't been against anyone, and similar with Iowa State, except a little different. Again, they didn't play anyone. They've played 3 games, but the defense for them has looked elite. And yeah, we're kind of used to seeing that with them. So that's been very impressive to watch. I bumped them into the top 40 this week. Mississippi State moving up a little. They've been looking pretty good. Again, only through a couple games. I'm interested to see how they continue playing. They are without their best player, but they got a nice win against Arizona State. Auburn loses the one to Baylor, although they were winning for the majority of that game, so I didn't fault them too much. I did have to drop them a little since they did lose, but they did look very good in that one. And yeah, I was very impressed with Auburn. They were leading for pretty much the entire second half um, with about 2.5 minutes left. Baylor took over, and then they looked good against Southeast Louisiana, so that's good. Auburn's looking like a good team. Northwestern picks up a big win against Dayton. That was a pretty sneaky good game. Both of those teams made my top 40 last week, and Northwestern ends up winning by 5, so bumped them up a little. That was a good win. Dayton did drop out since they lost, but they could definitely reappear. TCU has been looking pretty good through the first 2 games. I bumped them up a bit. The AP poll was very high on them. They were getting a lot of votes. They didn't end up getting ranked, but I did bump them up for that. Wisconsin um, loses the one to Tennessee. I probably should have dropped them a little, but I kept them here. Um, they didn't look too bad against Tennessee. They kept it close. competitive for pretty much the whole game. They did end up losing by 10, but Tennessee is looking like a very good team. San Diego State loses to BYU. And speaking of BYU's been looking pretty good. They get bumped all the way up to 29 through 2 games. Huge one against, I believe that's Houston Christian. And then taking down San Diego State. That was a big win for them. They are looking to have a sneaky good year. I could definitely see it there. They're in the Big 12 now, so they could definitely continue to upset some teams. UCLA has been looking pretty good. I moved them up a little. Again, they really haven't played anyone. They play Marquette in a little bit in the Maui Invitational, so I'm interested to see what they look like there. Virginia with a big win against Florida. That was a huge one. They looked pretty good. I didn't end up moving them, but yeah, they got some big games coming up too in the out of conference. So hopefully they continue to win. UNC at 26. I didn't drop them, but I haven't liked what I've seen from them. Uh, I mean, they've been in some close games to start out the year with Lehigh and Radford. They were both close for a while, a little bit longer than you'd expect. I do expect them to figure it out, at least I hope. I didn't drop them just because they did end up winning big in both the games, but I don't know, I'm a little bit lower on them than the majority. But yeah, now let's move on into the top 25. Number 25, I got James Madison. They're ranked in my top 25 in basketball along with football, so good for them. I heard they took down the number one ranked team in soccer, so they're just having a program wide boom right now. Good for them. I'm very proud of the Dukes. Yeah, they take down Michigan State in overtime. I don't know how that happened. Michigan State was at home. I figured once it got to overtime, Michigan State would end up winning just because they're the better team. Usually that's kind of what happens. But no, James Madison ends up winning, and then they take down Kent State in double overtime. I don't know how many of you watched that game. That was a great game. They end up winning that. They also beat Howard, and James Madison. I mean, they don't play anyone else realistically for the rest of the year, so they could definitely make the tournament. I don't know about an at-large, possibly, since they just beat Michigan State. We'll talk a little bit more about Michigan State in a little. Memphis, I do have in the top 25 for the first time this year. Good for them. They beat Missouri on the road. I was pretty impressed with the way they did that. Alabama, I have at 23. I believe this is the first time I have them in the top 25 as well. Yeah, it looked pretty good. They really haven't played anyone but the offense has been dominant. I'd like to see a little more from the defense though. Colorado at 22, moving up a couple spots. They've been looking good through 2 games. They really don't have anyone scheduled for out of conference. They do play Miami, but that's all the way in December. So we'll kind of see how if they continue to win games. Tristan Da Silva has been looking pretty good as expected. Number 21, I got Illinois. They struggle against Oakland. So did Ohio State. Well, maybe Oakland's a little better than we think. But Illinois has a game up against Marquette tomorrow. I'm very interested to see how they play that. That's a huge one. Illinois could definitely win. Villanova I have here at 20. They've looked okay against their first two. They played American and Lemoyne. They have games this week up against Penn and Maryland. So they should win against Penn, and then Maryland. I did have as in last week. I had them at number 25, I believe. They end up starting off. They end up starting out the season 1-2. So Villanova should win that, but you never know. Kentucky at 19. I don't think I had a move. They've been looking pretty good, but again, they haven't played anyone. They play Kansas tomorrow. We'll see. I don't expect them to win though, but they could definitely skyrocket up if they win. Texas been again looking pretty good, but they really haven't played anyone. Michigan State loses the one to James Madison. I mean, that's just unacceptable. I dropped them, I think, 11 spots. Yeah, you can't be doing that, especially at home. I don't know how they're going to beat Duke tomorrow. We'll talk about Duke in shortly. But, I mean, you like to see a little more from Michigan State. Gonzaga at 16, I think I had them drop one. It's not like they really did anything wrong. They've played one game against Yale. Yale's actually a pretty good team. They won by 15, so good for them. They play against Purdue in the Maui Invitational in next week, so we'll see what goes on there. Baylor at 15, I've been very impressed that I've seen. They got the win against Auburn, and they beat John Brown and Gardner Webb pretty handily. Baylor's been looking like a pretty good team. Miami at 14. Another one of these teams looking good. They haven't really played anyone, though. They do play Kentucky in a couple weeks, and then they also play Georgia this week. That could be interesting. Georgia's been looking alright. Arkansas at 13. Again, kind of one of these teams taking care of business as expected, so good for them. They do have a game against Duke in I don't know, I think that's 2 weeks. So we'll see. They should be undefeated when they play them. Texas A&M beat Ohio State on the road. Very impressive win. Ohio State was a team that was in my top 40. They looked good in that. So, but I didn't move them just because I didn't. I couldn't really, just based off how mine was looking. USC I have all the way up at 11. I'm very impressed with them. They took down Kansas State. Kansas State was a team in my top 40 last week, and they looking like they have the best backcourt in the country. Isaiah Collier looks like the real deal. I've been very impressed with them. So USC is coming in at 11, just outside the top 10. Now let's move on into the top 10. Number 10, I got FAU moving down one from last week. They didn't look great against Loyola Chicago. Was on the road, but Loyola Chicago hasn't been very good the past 2 years, really. I know FAU has some good games scheduled for out of conference. I know they play Illinois at some point and Arizona. I don't know. It's not in November. They only play 5 games in November. That's interesting. They got 2 games this week against Eastern Michigan and Bryant, both at home. They should win those. Duke coming in at 9. They lose the one at home to Arizona. That's a tough one. They didn't look particularly too bad in it. Arizona just looked like the better team. They were kind of trailing for most of it. They were at home, so it's unfortunate they lose that one. But I still do think Duke is a very good team. I don't think it's time to panic. Filipowski with a great game. Jeremy Roach has been good. I've liked what I've seen from Jared McCain. I'd like to see a little more out of Proctor, though. So if they can get some more out of him, that would be really good for them. 8, Tennessee. Tennessee is looking like a very dominant defense. I've really liked what I've seen. But again, I mean, they did beat Wisconsin, so that was an impressive win. It was on the road, too. But Tennessee, yeah, they're looking good. I got them at 8. Houston at 7. Another team, I really liked what I've seen from their defense, but they really haven't played anyone. They played Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and UL Monroe, holding those teams to 50 and 31 respectively. They don't really have anyone. I'm looking right now. Well, they have Xavier. They have A&M. That's really it for the non-conference, so they should be set up. They could possibly enter conference play undefeated. UConn looking very good against 2 nobodies. So again, taking care of business. They do play Indiana on Sunday, so we'll see how they look there. Creighton at 5, again, taking care of business against these teams. Not really much to talk about there. Marquette at 4, similar kind of thing. It's going to be a lot of this. We really haven't had too many good games this week. Well, I guess next week's show we'll have plenty to talk about. There's plenty of games this week. But yeah, Marquette beat Northern Illinois and Rider, so good for them. Arizona coming in at 3, huge win over Duke on the road. That is a huge resume booster, and I'm a huge fan of that. So I have them bumping up all the way to 3. I think I move them up 8 spots. Huge win for them. They looked great. They were winning the whole game, and I'm going into Duke to do that to the number 2 team in the country is hard. I take back everything I said. Actually, no. I was gonna say I take back everything I said about Caleb Love. I don't, but he played great in that one. I still do think he's a good player, and Arizona's looking like a great team. They have 7 people averaging more than 10 points, and another guy with 9. They look great. Yeah, I got them at 3. Purdue at 2. Taking care of business against nobodies. They haven't played anyone. Edey looks like he hasn't skipped a beat. And I do really like what I've seen from Braden Smith. Hopefully he can keep that up and take that sophomore step up, because Purdue really needs the guard play. And then KU, Kansas at number 1, taking care of business. They played NC Central in Manhattan, and they win 99-56 and 99-61. So, yep, taking care of business against teams they should. So, yeah, it's kind of what you expect if you're the Kansas Jayhawks. They do play Kentucky tomorrow, so we'll see how they look. I'm very interested to watch that. Obviously, Kansas is my number 1 team, and Kentucky is a very good team as well. So very interested to see how that matchup plays out. And there's plenty of good matchups. Like I said, Marquette, Illinois, the Gavitt tip-off game. So there's a bunch of Big Ten, Big East battles. I think Purdue plays Xavier today. I'm trying to think of other ones. Villanova plays Maryland. That could be interesting. I think Wisconsin has a good one. St. John's plays Michigan. That will be fun to watch. So yeah, there's plenty of good games this week. So make sure you guys tune into those and enjoy. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on any videos. We got college basketball every Monday night, college football every Tuesday night, NFL every Wednesday night, and NBA every Thursday night. This is the prime time for content on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on any of our videos. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed. As always, my X and Discord are linked in the description. You can follow that, join that, whatever you'd like to do. And yeah, videos on the screen right now are some great videos, NBA and NFL. Make sure you go check those out. Yeah, great watch, and I hope you guys enjoy the slate we have of games this week. It's a lot better than last week, so make sure you guys watch those games and enjoy. I'll see you back here again next week. Yeah, college basketball every Monday night. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys tomorrow with college football.